Making records does not get easier as you go along. There's a reason that so many bands, their records tend to get worse and worse and worse.
We definitely felt, as we always do, the pressure to attempt to outdo ourselves.
This was the first time I think I allowed someone not in the band to kind of have an influence on what I was doing.
You know, it's our 8th studio album, so we want to always be inspired by new surroundings and new people.
I think we always kind of say that every record is like, you know, a little bit of a departure, but then somehow we find a way to make it, you know, our own. And I think that's true with this record, but it's very much more so ambitious than I think any record we've ever made.
The patterns that we had, I think they're the ones.
In the last 2 years, we've been touring pretty nonstop all over the globe.
Oh man, I don't remember those 2 years.
2015 was a very busy year. Discovering the Waterfront anniversary tours, I'm Alive and Everything I Touch album release, Warped Tour, we went to Australia twice.
Multiple trips to Europe.
Canada, America, it's been a lot of touring. In fact, it all blends together as one big thing.
It's funny, there's two sides to our band and they're both music, so you'd think they'd be similar, but they're vastly different in my opinion. I mean, when you're on the road, you have this instant moment with a fan that never can be repeated. When you're making a record, that's going to be listened to over and over and over again. So experience, both for the listener and for the performer, for us, is completely different too. Because on the demo, it's like...
So before this record, we hadn't really spent that amount of time on pre-production. We would kind of track it in this very classic way, which was, you know, we'd write songs, the producer would come to our rehearsal space, watch us play the songs, they'd make notes, you know, come back the next day and try and play the songs differently.
Riff sauce in the breakdown?
I found that that's always been a frustrating situation where you're kind of trying to say, okay, well, let's try it this way.
You were kind of just working on it on the spot, so you might not even have heard really what the bass or the vocals were doing so well.
Maybe rapping?
When you're all in the room, kind of working on something, it's a lot more on the fly.
For this record, we spent a lot of time making demos, working drums around, changing drum parts, changing guitar parts.
We weren't really falling into, okay, that's the part, we're just gonna work with that. It was like, that's the part, but we need to change it. And it was a lot of refining and a lot of preparedness in that way, but it was also pushing the songs, I think, to be better and even pushing the drum parts to be more intricate.
I think working with Derek was amazing in the pre-production process. We stepped back a little bit from the songs.
Sometimes we have no idea what I'm gonna do vocally, and we'll just make it work later. And Derek, our producer, was like, that's a hard no for me.
The quality of the song in the producer's eyes wasn't just how well we played it in the room.
Working with Derek Hoffman, our producer, and also Paul Mark, who co-produced the record, so nuts, so meticulous.
No, you were a semitone flag.
From a writing perspective, everything I had to try and pull off had to be great. Not just good, great.
There's just a lot of clarity in the songs right from the beginning. We were really identifying exactly what these songs were all about and what they could become.
It helped really solidify what we wanted to do. We were able to focus on getting the right performances and the right tones. Derek is a very, very hands-on producer.
Literally, like, just take the guitar from me while I was recording and be like, how about this? I'd be like, okay, sure. We'd never had a producer so hands-on. We felt a little bit like everyone was working towards a common goal, a common vision with the music.
He did help like bring the best out of these songs in like this collaborative way.
Yeah, like don't overthink it, just think about it a lot.
We experimented with some different pedals and effects to really change up the feel of the guitar. We experimented with a lot of different tunings.
This like new guitar tuning we've been working with has definitely shaped the way we were writing songs.
As musicians, you develop at least styles in your own playing. And switching up something like the tuning forces you out of those kind of comfortable habits that contributed heavily to the sound and the general tone of the record.
The lower guitar tunings, some kind of heavier riffs were just like shocking to me at first. And now through the process, like adding vocals, adding like this kind of sonic texture to everything, I don't think we've ever really approached on our records, and like reminds me of some of my favorite records.
Where is the track that I'm hearing you on? Oh, there it is.
So the subject matter of the songs, there's a lot of experience I've gone through over the last year that have inspired the record. And the first track, which is called Last Looks, is directly based on the footballer George Best. He was kind of the first celebrity athlete to really be that like playboy. He became an alcoholic. He's actually the reason that if you get a liver transplant, you have to do 6 months of sobriety, because he had a liver transplant and kept drinking. Before he died, he called the press in to his hospital bed and he said, "Don't die like me." That story, for some reason, at the time I read about it, it really did ring true to some of the things I was going through in my life. It's very easy when you have hard things and bad things happen to you to turn to those dark places.